Now, is there a specific person who has to serve as the CAS supervisor?
That is me.
You have to do that too?
And I'm happy to do it. I love working with the kids on their community service projects, and that's what it's really one of my favorite aspects of the job, is being able to help them organize their community service events.
I should say with CAS, and I'm using your acronyms like I know what I'm talking about, but for those folks who are watching the show who don't know what CAS is, it's the Community Action Service part of the International Baccalaureate, which brings me to also another part of the IB is the EE, which extended essay.
Yeah.
Now, do you also coordinate that, or is there something?
I don't. I have some help with the extended essay.
That's right.
So between our Dean of Humanities, Diane Babb, serves as our extended essay coordinator, and we also bring in quite a bit of assistance from our librarian, who has also gone through some regional trainings to be sort of aware of what is necessary to help students be successful when they're writing their 4,000-word independently researched essay.
Okay.
And since we're talking money, I think it's important to note neither the dean nor the librarian have lessened responsibilities anywhere else. That's simply added. So it won't show up in the budget that Peter has, because that's just an additional responsibility given to both of those.
So are all the teachers who are teaching IB courses teaching other courses as well?
For the most part.
None of them are
Yes, for
exclusive
example,
to
I teach 3 sections of IB English for seniors, but then I also teach 2 sections of our freshman composition in writing course.
Okay.
So I'll have 2 semester-long classes each semester, so 2 classes each semester with freshmen almost every day. And I've also taught in the American Dream. I've taught. Sorry.
Brave man.
Yeah. Yes, it's great. I love it. I love having the 2 ends of the spectrum. It really is a great opportunity to work with kids. And I have also taught the American Dream, the 10th grade course, and the junior year course as well. So.
Okay. Now, I know I had seen that there were a whole bunch of different things, and I know you did say the annual fee is running about $10,000.
Yep.
And the critics say that every year the IB prices go up. Has that been Bedford's experience? Have you seen an incremental increase each year?
Yeah, it has increased incrementally. I believe approximately $200 has been the incremental increase per year.
Well, that's not too bad. Yeah.
Since I've been coordinating.
Now, does that include the per program annual fee? That $10,000?
The per program annual fee.
Those are the same thing.
Yeah.
Those are
one and the same?
Right. You're just giving different names to the same fee.
Okay. Now, what about the per student registration fee? Is that part of that?
That's paid for by the students. So for a student to take
in addition to the exam fees?
Correct. So there's a one-time exam fee and a one-time registration fee.
Oh, interesting.
And actually, you go first.
Well, I should probably clarify. So the one-time registration fee is so that...
you mean as they're becoming a brand new IB student?
It's only if they're going to ultimately take the assessments.
Okay.
So there's hundreds of students that take IB courses.
Okay.
And we ultimately end up with somewhere around 100 of them choose to take the assessments. Those that don't choose to take the assessments benefit on college transcripts. And from the admissions offices that I've talked to, they value seeing IB, those 2 letters associated with any class, and they'll typically add a greater weight to the grade that a student received in that class.
So are they considered the certificate IB students or not?
If they're not working toward the full diploma. And the full diploma is very specific, rigorous, asks a lot of...
Oh yeah, I saw the list.
Oh yeah. Those kids work very hard. And and then we have, obviously, a great deal of students that choose to take any number of individual IB courses and can still benefit from college credit, typically more associated with the higher level classes.
And from what I understand, the higher level is considered pretty much like a college major, whereas the standard level is considered like a college minor.
That's kind of one of the easy ways that they try to explain it.
Yeah, that's a reasonable kind of first blush that the classes have 2 levels, SL or standard level and HL higher level, and I think that's a pretty good rule of thumb to start. There's a lot of other subtleties, but that's right.
Now it seems like most of the colleges though only give credit for the HL level, right?
Well, it depends on where you are. I've done some research on this. And in parts of the country where IB has been more prevalent for a longer period of time, you tend to see them being more willing to offer college credit for SL coursework. Unfortunately, IB has been sort of new to the New England area, not brand new, but certainly not as popular in other parts of the country like Florida and Texas and California. So in those parts of the country where IB is more familiar, you tend to see more often universities awarding credit. It's not a universal policy, and it's sort of my job to coordinate and help colleges determine their course credit rewards. And I've actually been able to do that with one university so far, and hopefully I'll have the time to do more.
Do you have to run in-school workshops workshops each year or regularly for the IB teachers as well, or not?
What we do is, which is great, is part of that Gibbs annual fee, the $300, we sort of form this organization that we get IB English teachers, for example, together on one particular day. And Andrew, you actually coordinated this year's IB Roundtable. Would you like to explain a little bit
Absolutely. And so what happens is we bring English teachers, IB English teachers from area schools in New England. This year we had people from far away as Maine. We had a few from closer to Connecticut, like almost down towards New York City. And they all came to a central school down in Boston. And what these opportunities are opportunities for teachers in the IB curriculum to get together and collaborate, to share ideas, to identify problems that they're having and talk it out with other teachers that are going through the same, hopefully going through the same program in the same way. And it's a great opportunity to make contact with people within the profession that you can rely on for advice and help. But ultimately it comes back to how the IB programs are applied in our different schools. And so while it's good to have that conversation with people who understand the program as a whole and understand what you're trying to do and understand the language, it comes back to how then that gets applied into Bedford High School. And that is where I bring that conversation that I have back to other English teachers at Bedford High School and sit down and say, okay, this is how it works in other places. How can we make it work here? It has been me. There has been 2 or 3 other English teachers as well. It's a really, really great opportunity to get just very helpful, what kind of books did people use? How did you find that successful? Can you give me any strategies for how you taught Shakespeare? And it's a matter of just sort of brainstorming. It's a fantastic brainstorming session with other teachers.
Sure.
Not just me. A lot of other teachers have gone through that in almost every discipline as well.
No, I asked because some literature I read would have you think that half the teachers in the school went off for a day or two, and obviously this would be a significant budget item out of your budget.
Absolutely.
And they were also indicating it would be on school days, which means people like me who on occasion sub would be getting calls and you'd have to write us up paltry checks and so on, you know.
Right, right.
But that's not really an issue here in Bedford.
Well, if I can jump in a little bit, the longer trainings that we send people to tend to actually be over, they coordinate them to be over different types of breaks. For instance, I went on a training that was actually over Columbus Day weekend. So I went away and got trained over that 4-day weekend. I missed the professional workshop day. But many of the trainings coincide with February break or April break, and the majority of them that we send on are actually in the summertime. So teachers are willing to give up their actual personal time to go to these trainings. And
I mean, honestly, I don't think people would get very upset over the cost of that, because no matter what profession you're in, you have to constantly update your skills.
Right, and no matter what program we have, we need professional development for people to be ready for it.
Exactly.
And I remember when Andrew put his request in, because it channels through me, and it was one of the professional days that's just part of what teachers get to do each year to keep up their training.
Now, one of the things that I did ask Tim in my email, and I don't know if anybody had a chance to talk about it, but I asked if there was a figure for how much has already been invested in the IB program in Bedford. And I mean, I guess one of the major reasons I'm asking that is because, say this legislation were to pass, then obviously it means that maybe a good part of that investment could be lost. So people need to be able to equate that as well. Do you have any handle on what up to now investment is in it?
We did talk about it.
Okay.
I don't think we could put a number on it per se.
Okay.
There's certainly a significant amount of training that's been in place, though it's not like the teachers would forget that training overnight. We'd still have those skills.
Sure.
We have a lot of materials, textbooks and novels that might adjust, but your estimate was maybe half of them we would
yeah, so if you're looking and comparing sort of the books in a particular course, for instance, the English courses, it's approximately half the books we use right now also show up on an AP list. So the other books that wouldn't show up would probably be from some of the international authors that we...
Yeah, but we don't have very many AP courses in Bedford. There are only, what, 5?
Well, we were just saying if hypothetically we had to make a switch away,
Oh, go to AP.
and there'd
Okay.
be costs associated with it. There'd be some costs there.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously it wouldn't be a total loss of investment.
Right, but yeah, exactly. I don't want to overstate it. It wouldn't be a total loss of investment. The training's been great training, and a lot of the books match up with AP lists as well. So I just want to be careful we don't overstate that. There'd be costs,
I understand. But do we have a handle on what we have spent on IB so far?
It's run approximately somewhere between 50 to probably 55, maybe 60 at the highest end, maybe at the beginning when we had to send the largest amount of teachers off to training in the first year or two. So, I mean,
during the assessment phase?
Yeah, so if you're talking about 4 years of running a program at somewhere around 50 to 60, you're a little over 200. But once again, that's a bit of an approximation.
And that's the annual cost 4 times in a row.
Okay.
It's kind of a funny way to measure it, but that'd be one way to measure it.
Okay. Now, Justin, and maybe this is an unfair question, had you chosen to go to AP instead of IB, how would that compare financially?
Well, I think most of the cost comes from, or a large part of it comes from training, and I know certainly we would have still been training teachers to develop professionally. I don't know, perhaps you can speak the rest. Certainly, I wouldn't be being paid a salary to do what I do, because I...
Well, yeah, some of the costs to be fixed, obviously.
So some of my salary would not be being paid for. And the reason why every school has an IB coordinator is because all of the assessments are very specific, and it takes a lot of time and effort. I'm actually going through that process right now of trying to organize every classes, all 21 courses we offer. We have to organize all those assessments, get them shipped off to where they're going. So it's quite a bit of work.
I'll start with my questions, because I know you all have lots of points to make, but my other questions are real easy. What's the high school population right now? What is it, about 1340 or something like that?
I believe.
I was close.
1350.
Wow, I said 1340. I was close. 1350?
You win the prize.
I'm telling you, what do I get?
Very good.
What do I get? I can come down and get a free bottle of water or something?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. How many kids have already, from Bedford, received an IB diploma?
So we are so proud to be able to say that 28 of the 31 students in 2 years that have gone for their IB diploma have earned it. So that's a rate of 90%,
Wow.
which compares favorably to worldwide is typically around 78%, depending upon the year.
And what's the usual size of the graduating class?
The usual size, we start probably with about 25 candidates per year.
No, I mean the total.
Oh, the
senior
total, I
class.
apologize.
Out of a total senior class, it's increased a lot over the last 3 years. I think this year's senior class 320, is that
320
so,
kids.
something like that.
And how many, assuming they all make it, how many are in line to get the IB diploma this year?
So right now 19, and I'm very proud to say that we're working with a junior group, our largest yet, of 27.
Okay.